Thank you, Cointelegraph, Newtribe team, Dr. Marwan Dubai Blockchain Center, all the older friends in the audience, ecosystem partner as well. My name is Charlie, co-founder of Bitlayer. Today, hopefully after the conversation, very brief one, only 8 minutes, right? I talk about what's happening in Bitlayer and also what's happening in the Bitcoin ecosystem. Can we go back to the first slides, please? Thank you very much. So where we are, 2024, Q4 already, right? We are, I would say, technically kind of already entered the bull market. It's definitely an institutional bull market with a lot of ETF firms with over 20 billion Bitcoin purchasing happening already. We want to build the programmability around Bitcoin to make Bitcoin more sustainable. So currently, Bitlayer, we are one of the largest Bitcoin L2 in the space with the vision of Bitcoin programmability and Bitcoin verification. Next slide, please. So we are in this very interesting asymmetric opportunity right now. Bitcoin sitting on over 1.5 trillion market cap, and with the power and the possibility to unlock, let's say, 10% of the liquidity, we're talking about 150 billion TVL. On Ethereum, there's a lot of issues with the middle life crisis, fragmented liquidity, and all the other things happening. And we see massive amount of builders culture and a vibe, and also new liquid providers entering the space. Next slide, please. So Bitlayer launched our V1 mainnet this April. This white paper pretty much lists out all the infrastructure we want to build. We use BVM2 and a Bitcoin-friendly stock to make a very low-cost kind of way to verify proofs. So state transition can be properly verified on Bitcoin L1. This is the new thing. Fundamentally, we can move the needle for Bitcoin ecosystem. In the last 15 years, Bitcoin had only 2 features. One is store of value, we call this digital gold. The other one is payment, right, which is high cost with long finality, right? Of course, you have state channels and like Lightning, but there's no programmability, there's no smart contracts, there's no DeFi you can build on Bitcoin L1. With all the nodes happened last year, there's a huge amount of people wants to tap into space. Next slide, please. So the journey of Bitlayer is literally all the way from the last cycle bull market. I was head of API and Polygon, brought over 600 projects to the Ethereum L2. I have friends from all kinds of Ethereum L2 across Arbitrum, Optimism, Immutable X. I've been very closely working with Polkadot and many other L1 as well. But the journey of Bitcoin and Bitcoin programmability is because really the BRC20, the whole Bitcoin renaissance happening last year. And I connected with my co-founder Kevin, who was the head of engineering in Huobi, one of the largest exchanges, who working with all the Bitcoin mining farms in Asia. So we really tap into 2 words. One is the Western institution, like Franklin Templeton, which I will mention about that later, and also the Eastern whales in the Bitcoin mining farms who mine Bitcoin the last 15 years. So these are kind of the new type of people we have been tapping into. Obviously, we kind of bridge hundreds of Ethereum builders, especially the DeFi builders, to our space. So right now, we are sitting on around 600 million TVL with 260 projects already on our mainnet. And yeah, next slide, please. So what do we want to do, essentially? The goal is to achieve Bitcoin finality with the Bitcoin verification. Verification is hard because Bitcoin has no layer 1 smart contract. It's UTXO cash system. So using the existing scripting language without a soft fork to build the verification mechanism is the engineering challenge we're having. So BVM really opened up the light. BVM1, we were the first research team to start that last year. The BVM2 has a very interesting new model, and we started jump on that since beginning of this year. So we found a new route. We're working on Bitcoin-friendly proof, which is 10 times smaller on the proof side to save the cost. We all know Bitcoin blocks is very expensive. So this is a way to, without sacrificing Bitcoin security, verify on layer 1 actually, but have a low cost to verify that. So this is the key solution we're working on. Next slide. Yeah, so essentially, if in case people know, like all the Ethereum L2s right there, 2 types of proof, fraud proof and a validity proof. So essentially, BVM, we are on the fraud proof side to verify transaction with a challenge game every 2 weeks. And gradually, and we are working on this future-proof hybrid model called OPVM. If we have the OPCAT, more expressive Bitcoin L1, we will have the native ZK validity proof, like ZK stock proof. So that's something we are still pending on the community to evolve. But so far, we are kind of 1 or 2 months away from the V2 mainnet. We're going to enable the fraud proof on Bitcoin L1. Next slide. So these are our in-house key innovation. Bitlayer friendly stock approved with 10 times smaller than stock. That's the key engineering thing we found. It's more benefiting to build on that part. Next slide. So yeah, that's kind of where we are in the ecosystem. Majority and also the status code is on the left, a bunch of sidechain with multi-sig. The future we believe is a layer 1 verification with trust minimized bridge and the data availability with Bitcoin aligned the DA layer. Next slide. This is our architect. It's a roll-up equipment model with a BitVM verify and approve. Next slide. Now the key three solutions, right? Finality VM and trust minimized bridge with BVM2 and high performance virtual machines. We are EVM compatible. We are working on the real-time VM and talking closely with all the best infrastructure provider like Mega East and Monad as well. Next slide. The roadmap. This is the roadmap we draw beginning of this year. We have been on time. On the V1, we launched April. V2, we're launching next month. Very soon, stay tuned on the V2 testnet for everybody who wants to build on that to have a taste about what is the native layer 2 look like. And the V3 will come out next year together with our TGE and so on. Next slide. This is kind of the progress. I wouldn't bother you with the details. Next slide. Yeah, we work very closely with the best ZK team in the world, Zik Stockware, who is our investor as well, and also deep dive on the ZK research on OpCat. Next slide. It's a 40 engineering team with 20 team globally on BD marketing. We're being very supportive for all kinds of ecosystem projects. I know we still want to hire great talents. For people who are interested to join the Bitcoin journey, we're looking for our head of MENA role as well. Next slide. Brief word about my co-founder, who is one of the best engineer and tech leader in Asia, who was the head of engineering, built 3 EVM compatible chain, early contributor for Celestia, head of engineering in Huobi. Huobi, the Heco chain in 2021, the all-time high was 14 billion TVL, 3 million transactions per day, never crashed. Compared to other chains, it crashed over 10 times. That was solid, and we've been very active improving our infrastructure. So far, Bitlayer V1 mainnet, we have all-time high 300,000 transactions per day, haven't crashed, and it's been very smooth engineering experience as well. Next slide. Next slide. I wouldn't bore too much on the details. So the way we grow ecosystem, a few words, tries to be very brief. We took the playbook of Blast and the Arbitrum to have this ecosystem leaderboards. We try to really put all the good projects on the top TVL, top transactions, and top popularity on the leaderboards. So far, people have this very simple one page to understand what's going on in ecosystem. We're 100% not a zombie chain. We have a lot of use cases across DeFi, gaming, and all kinds of new primitive like DP and NFTs. Obviously, there's certain things have much more adoption than the others. We are very much focused on Bitcoin DeFi. There's going to be a lot of like ecosystem support we are launching soon. Next slide, please.
1 minute left.
Okay. The user center is something very kind of innovated in the operational side to provide this gamified solution for users who want to tap into our ecosystem. So this is something, just simply connect any MetaMask or any Web3 wallets. We support over 12 different wallets. This is the way we have like gas to earn prediction market, card collection games. So we on our mainnet on the website, we actually find a way to directly interact with all our users. Users have a lot of fun. We generate over 70,000 transactions per day on the user center. And there's a lot of the new ideas. We are kind of openly collaborating, talking to all the ecosystem partners to bring user adoption and give user new interesting features to taste. Next slide, please. We put a DApp center to support all kinds of top ecosystem projects, put them in the spotlight as well. Next slide. This is our NFT pass. We made it very successful. A couple of months ago, we are onboarding a lot of new assets as well. Next slide. This is our Mining Gala Season 1, massive success. We're doing Season 3 already. Next slide. Season 2, we were the first project working with OKX wallet. We brought 500,000 users on that. Next slide. We are the first project to sponsor this event, one of the biggest debate between Bitcoin and gold. Next slide. We are everywhere. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. One of the largest ecosystems in the Bitcoin space. For the people who want to learn more, talk to us. Next slide. Yeah, next slide. Next slide. These are the investors we have. We raised 25 million. All the top VC, Polychain, Franklin Templeton, Framework, ABCD, all the great investors globally have been supporting us. Great to have those guys, and we believe we can make history for Bitcoin. Next slide. For the technical block, that's the people who wants to learn about our V2. We have all the content we're sharing every day. Next slide, please. Yeah, for the people who wants to learn more about us, stay tuned. search our Twitter, Bitlayer Labs. It's the best way to see the alpha. We try to be as much active as possible. Thank you very much. Once again, thank you, Cointelegraph, for the opportunity.